So we're gonna be talking basically about music today. So all of our circles kind of start off with a central theme. So we're gonna be talking about music.
My name is Nigel Thompson, Youth Program Coordinator here at RJoy Restorative Justice for Oakland Youth. I help run our youth internship program, and today I'm gonna be walking you through all the different elements of a community building circle for a Tier 1 restorative justice training. Yeah, so right now we're sitting in our music studio, and every week we try to choose a different theme for our circle. We decided to have our theme for our circle based in music, so that's why it was really cool that we're able to sit here in a place that produces a lot of great music and sounds for us. A lot of our youth, some have faced really hard trials and tribulations in their life. We serve not just high school students, but transitional age students, so that's ages 16 all the way up to 25. And a lot of us are, just really trying to figure out life, trying to find an identity, their own different walk and way of life.
You want fried fish?
Ooh-wee. Our program runs from September all the way up to May. A lot of our youth, they're just so used to being in the house and, being on the phone. And this is like a really hard change of pace. So it's a really challenging adjustment, I think, for a lot of people to come from that, to be literally forced to interact with other people in ways that they're really not used to. Just seeing them by May being so comfortable and open with each other really is an astounding transition to see.
Hip hop, jazz.
I think I was really at like a low point in my life. I'd actually just dropped out of school without really knowing anything about RJ or having never been in a circle or anything like that before. I took an internship. From there, I kind of fell in love with it. Really kind of got me on the path that I'm doing now. So now I'm finishing school right now I'm a psychology major at Cal State East Bay. That really kind of changed my life. I come in knowing that it's gonna be a process to get kids to buy in. Because like I said, I was there too. I was kind of looking at, this at first, like, what is this, or what am I doing? I remember feeling very uncomfortable. Eventually seeing that barrier go down, I felt it in myself, and I just really want that for others. Every circle keeper is different, and people choose to lead spaces in a different way, but I think that's, all an energy thing. As youth walk into the space, I always like to have music playing and just eat and talk and vibe and listen to music before we get into the formalized space. So welcome and opening is kind of just an introduction and grounding people into the space. A lot of circle keepers like to do things differently. And I think that, when it comes to the community building circles that I run, for me and the way that I like to teach it as well, is always to start our community building circles with a theme. So I really wanted to keep that theme of music going and alive through the different type of ceremony that we were doing, and as well as the icebreakers and activities and workshops that we do.
So we're gonna be talking basically about music today. So all of our circles kind of start off with a central theme. So we're gonna be talking about music. And for our opening ceremony, we're all gonna be making a song. How you might ask? Something simple, everybody's gonna make a sound basically. So you could tap your knee. You can clap your hands. You can make an audible sound.
So the centerpiece is, the very central element to the circle. It's always sitting right in the middle. We do usually like have people make offerings to the centerpiece as well. So we'll say like, bring something that's important to you or bring something that you really value for them to put that into the centerpiece in order to have that be a part of ourselves. All of those items in the centerpiece can be used as talking pieces. So when we start getting in the circle, the person who has a talking piece is the person that's speaking and everybody else is listening. But we really like to have the talking piece in order to honor whoever's speaking at the moment. A lot of times, people will share, and sometimes people will pass as well. But still, the talking piece always goes from the person who started the question all the way around, so everybody touches the talking piece. Just in case, if anybody does want to pass or doesn't want to share in that moment, they're still seen and heard through just, taking the talking piece and still passing it to the next person. So something that I literally ask every week at Youth Circle is how are you feeling today on a scale of 1 to 10 or on a scale of hot or cold or, on a scale of fist to 5 in order for you to really be able to adjust and move to accommodate everybody and their needs.
How are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10? And if you could describe your mood through a genre of music, which genre would it be?
I'm feeling like a 5, and not a genre, but I guess I'm feeling like static.
My name Reese. I'm feeling like let's say 7.5. I don't really got a genre, but I got more of an era, like that 2016 SoundCloud era. Like that's shit me.
My name's Suraj. I'm feeling about an 8. After that game, I don't know, like a genre. I'm kind of feeling like this, whatever this is.
That was immersive. My name is Esther. I'm feeling a 9 out of 10, and the genre I'd say is old school R&B.
My name is Marilyn. I feel like a 7, and
once we've, temperature checked everybody and we see where everybody's kind of at and feeling for the day, that then kind of shows me what kind of relationship building activities that I'd like to do. We play a bunch of different games that really help break the ice. And for this circle, we did Where the Wind Blows.
If I say I love my neighbor who has been to a concert, anybody who's been to a concert stands up and finds another seat besides the one they're sitting in right now. I love my neighbor who sings in the shower.
No way you just let that happen.
Hey, I love my neighbor who
No way you
listen to music while doing chores.
All right.
That ain't everybody. Listening to at least one Doja Cat song.
I'm like,
I love my neighbor who be dancing when they listen to music.
Oh, that's me.
come on.
I love my neighbor who has a playlist full of weird songs that they secretly love themselves.
Yeah, that when I sit my back, that shit go poop out. Got some sweaty toes, I think my shoe hot. Think you the man, I think not. Getting really fried, we like Wingstop.
Yeah,
I got a bat, but I really ate my cat. Whiskers going splat. Fat.
So at this point, in May, at the end of the year, our guidelines are very established. Our guidelines are something that we use all year and that we reiterate every time we meet, just so people can have those guidelines to let people know what is going to make them feel most comfortable and feel most safe to be their authentic self.
One mic, as I said before, the person with the talking piece is the person who's speaking and everybody else is listening. Take your own inventory, so that basically just means, keep up with all your belongings and take care of yourself accordingly. So if you need to get up and use the restroom, get some water, take a phone call, things like that. Respect all opinions. No question is a dumb question, so if you hear something that comes up in our discussion portion of our circle and you have a question, you can always ask that person. And tech respect. And tech respect basically just means, don't be on your cell phone and things like that while other people are talking.
Values are kind of the what, and guidelines are the how. What are we going to try to uphold and abide by, and how are we going to do it? The first day of the program, we all collaborated and created these guidelines and agreements. Everybody offered up something, and then we checked in at the end of that process to see if that was okay on a scale of thumbs up to thumbs down. Consensus is the number one thing when it comes to guidelines. Once we read off all of our guidelines in a circle, I like to get a physical acknowledgement, like a thumbs up.
So yeah, if we're cool with all those agreements, we'd just like to get a verbal thumbs up if we can all do our best to abide by those things. And these thumbs from everybody.
So sometimes, there will be a thumbs down because either somebody doesn't agree with said guideline, or if we feel that as a group we're not upholding that very well, we'll have a discussion on that, on how we can either improve that or how we can maybe change the guidelines, because these guidelines can always be changed, and that's why on a week-to-week basis we revisit those guidelines every week. Once we've established our agreements, temperature checked and see where everybody is at, and really warmed ourselves up and ingratiated ourselves into the space, that kind of allows us to slow down then and really take time to sit down with each other and engage in a lot of community building dialogue.
So first question, what role does music play in your life?
A lot of times I'll just ask one question, and then that kind of creates an entirely different conversation from whatever I had planned. The participants will end up posing questions themselves just based on the conversations that they end up having with each other.
Music plays a really big role in my life. I just grew up with music all around me. Music always filled the room, like in silence and stuff. And like my parents really love music. My dad used to be a drummer, and like my sister, she used to sing professionally. So I've always just been around music, and music kind of raised me.
I would say music is therapeutic, because I feel like it speaks to me when nothing else can.
I don't know. Music is kind of it's like a hole filler sometimes, and also it's just nice to hear something else that isn't everything else.
I think it's also a kind of a common understanding, even if we don't speak the same language or something like that. We can always, or we can both feel that rhythm and feel that music playing and just kind of communicate through.
You can really kind of feel that enthusiasm, when people are passionate about a certain subject. There's either a very strong intensity or there's a very loud lull. I think that kind of lets me know whether to either move on from the subject or continue to pick at it. I would say discussion is maybe 10 to 15% of the entire circle. I guess from the outside looking in, you would think that in a circle we'd just be talking a lot more, but we're really just doing a lot more and feeling a lot more rather than saying a lot more. A lot of times, we're engaging with each other through these different types of ceremony and through these different types of activities rather than just talking to each other. I really try to share deeply myself too, because I think as a facilitator, the more the participants see you sharing and the more that they get to know you, the more comfortable they will be to share themselves. I try to share as deeply and authentically as I possibly can. Just how we have a check-in, we like to have a check-out. You know, if that person was a 7 at the beginning of the circle, they might be an 8 or a 9 at the end of the circle. So if that person was a lower number than they were before, having a one-on-one check-in with them, just seeing where they're at, people are more inclined to share if they're having a harder time outside of the space.
All right. I don't want to get you joy.
I did.
I really just want to build trust as much as possible, really trying to hone in and see what I missed as a facilitator, or what I could improve on, or what would make that participant in particular have a better experience. For the next circle, I'll know how to approach them, or I'll know, you know, what makes them tick, and that's really all week to week process.
So just as we've been doing, when we hear something that resonates with us and we get the little snaps, let's just snap it up. Let's just continue to snap it up for ourselves. And on the count of 3, I'm going to say the word Ubuntu, meaning I am for we are. 1, 2, 3. Ubuntu. All right, y'all. Interns, I'll see you guys on Monday. Everybody else, I'll see y'all next Friday. Y'all, please take food home, please.